In each age, the soul of a powerful being would be burnt to keep the flame alive, but eventually a time would come when none heeded the bell of awakening, and the age of dark would descend. But in the dark, blood-curdling terrors dwelt, possessing the knowledge of madmen, and an insight into the nature of existence itself. Gods had begun. Humanity had all players deep and challenging, with different is less likely to get me horribly With each link the flame grew dimmer, burned shorter, and the world becomes more twisted. Over the ages, hundreds of powerful beings are given to the first flame, with the majority not surviving, or driven mad by the experience as Gwyn himself was. Some extremely powerful or determined beings, however, not only survived, but retained enough sanity to return to the world, a part of the first flame still burning inside them. In time, the quest of a chosen undead to prove themselves able to link the flame was lost, and attempts were made to create the perfect being to link the flame, and remain alive to be a Lord of Cinder if it needed to be linked again. But the attempt ultimately failed, producing a frail and crippled child who would not survive the linking alone. He became known as Prince Lothric. After the experiment that was Lothric, there was no longer any time, for the fire would soon fade, and when the bells tolled, it was decided all Lords of Cinder must be awoken and return to link the flame, including Lothric, for only together did they possess enough power to achieve the link. The Lords betrayed their thrones though, with only Ludlif of Coraland, the weakest but most mentally robust of the Lords, willing to sacrifice himself. The Abyss Watchers, descendants in duty of the Great Abyss Walker, who had supposedly defeated Manus and drove the Abyss from Ulasil, having fused their souls together into one after linking the flame, refused to give up their vigil of the dark below. Yorm the Giant returned home, unwilling to leave his seat of power again, and Aldridge never desired to link the flame in the first place, rather seeing visions of a future beyond light and dark, one of the deep, and desired only to consume the gods he saw lived therein. With the thrones of lords standing unfilled, the bells soon awoke those who had linked but were ultimately consumed entirely by the flame as a last-ditch effort. The end was close though, the flame dim, barely able to alight those linking it, and even the keeper of Firelink's shrine, watcher over the Lords of Cinder, would come to understand the futility of it all. She came to see things that she was never meant to, that prolonging the flame twists the world into a corrupt mess, and that the coming dark may very well be the natural state of existence. No lords, no flame, only darkness and humanity. Even the chaos-filled bastard flame of old Izalith now dimmed, the race of creatures it had spawned slowly dying in the ruins of their old kingdom. But driven to fulfill a destiny they had achieved long ago, an unkindled known only as Ashen One would successfully make it past Firelink Guardian Gundyr, and be tasked with retrieving the souls of the Lords of Cinder, so they may be used as fuel for the flame. The Ashen One travelled the twisted lands, even to Anor Londo, now atop the city of Irithyll, possibly recreated by the old god-obsessed Aldridge, wearing the face of Dark Sun Gwendolyn. Once the Ashen One returned and travelled to the Twisted Kiln at the end of the age, they managed to find a way to the Ring City, an ancient land bequeathed to the Pygmy Kings by Lord Gwyn himself. Here the Ashen One learnt the truth of man, and the disparity between light and dark. Thus it was decided that the Lord's souls would not be burnt, and upon putting to rest the amalgamation of every soul that had ever linked the flame, the Firekeeper, with her new knowledge, took the first flame and allowed it to die in her hands. After uncountable ages and inconceivable lengths of time, the Age of Fire had at last ended, and humans would throw off the dark sign, living once more in their natural state. But something still remained. Embers flitted across the darkness, and soon mankind would capture the remnants of flame and keep them for themselves. The Age of Dark had come, and in it creatures of unknowable intellect stirred, taking a renewed interest in the affairs of man. The Abyss consumed the land, spreading the dark soul evenly, and bestowed every human with all the humanity they could ever desire. Unlike their forebears though, the humanity did not go wild. Without the countering effects of the first flame, humanity was able to grow naturally, and a balance was eventually struck. In the darkness, humanity found a great interest in their own being. While looking inwards though, they became aware of what was outside of their own perception. The great beings outside of normal reality had always been present. One had even interfered with the world, leading to the Age of Ancients and everlasting dragons. But only now did they become known. In honor of their great ones, a Sumerian civilization dug out great labyrinths as resting places for their gods, and it is here that they learnt the Eldritch truth. Through contact with these great ones, the civilization was elevated and granted powerful abilities, including the manipulation of what remained of the first flame. The civilization captured the embers, nurtured them, and created a tamed flame, allowing light to return to the world. Although no longer bound to it, humanity still sought the fire, but unlike the bonfires of old, they created lanterns, a symbol in themselves of the newfound mastership of the flame. New cities of man rose on the sites of the old lord's kingdoms. Technology spread quickly, and the people basked in the presence of their gods. Quickly, the Age of Dark was turning into the Age of Great Ones, a future Aldrich so long ago had seen. With the growing civilization, a monarch rose, desiring to lead the people closer to the Great Ones. To do this, Queen Yharnam consorted with the Great One Odin, and as they were unable to bear their own offspring, Yharnam was blessed with a child of the Eternal, the child Murga. But the blessing soon turned out to be a curse, for the other Great Ones grew angry at this fraternization, and deemed that the child would never be born, forcing it and Yharnam's soul into an endless nightmare, polluting her now lifeless physical remains. The Queen's body was buried in the labyrinth, the chalice dungeons, her subjects deeming that she had carried a Great One, and as such could be considered kin. Without their leader and cut off from their angry gods, the Sumerian civilization fell, and the Age of Dark continued. But as always, change would come. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm here to say I am coming up on 10,000 subscribers, and also my big 30th birthday at the end of September. So the best birthday present ever would be to hit that target. So if you're not already, I would love so much if you would subscribe for that. And if that's not enough for you, then we've got lots of stuff that I can't tell you about at the moment coming up for when we hit that target. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to keep up with all the new videos and what's happening on channel. And other than that, I just hope you have a great day.